Hello, hello, hello. We're back for another exciting adventure in painting. If I could get my camera to get a little better angle here. Close enough, huh? So try not to get this thing in the way. Okay, so the theme, the plan for this evening, as we close in on 10 o'clock, which should have been closer to 9 o'clock, but I started playing Marvel Snap, and then I was like, I should stream this. And then I'm like, nah, I gotta move my camera all the way to there, and I gotta move my mic all the way to there. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just play for a few minutes. An hour and a few minutes later, here I am, ready to go again with another round of painting. Finally, I finally said, no, I don't want to even do this. Why am I still playing? I kind of get, um, what's the word? Engrossed and addicted, attached, whatever. So, anyway, yeah. So I got to work on that. But so these are some of the guys I'm working on. Okay, so he's pretty much finished. There's not much to do on him. I might touch up his fire, but overall, I don't have much to do with him. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on him. But all right, so he's not an active party member. He hasn't shown up in a while. That's my son's character, but I still, half done goblin. He needs to be fixed. This bird could probably use some sticks or twigs or something to go around on his, and I'm thinking I do want it to be. I do want him to be kind of the base to be big like this instead of the tiny base, just because it's more stable, So I'll probably continue with that one a little bit. Just do some basic basing on him. He's already painted. She's also pretty much done. This is our thief, Non Lorna. I could add a bush, or I can add a little weed or bush down there just to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. We do have Agden Longscarf, who's actually using a whip instead of a firebrand because I couldn't find one with a firebrand. He does have a dagger too, but the only ones I've seen, there is one with two daggers. But I thought, hey, cool, let's make a fire whip. So that's what I kind of did. But as you can see, nothing else is done, and the fire whip is kind of it's not very fiery. So it could probably use a little bit more red with some brightness of the red with some more yellow contrasty stuff. And it's kind of hard to do yellow contrast, but you can. I've seen 5 people do it through their fire. She's done. Even her base is probably pretty good. I don't have to do a lot of work on her. This is Dacis. She's the what do you call it? Account? No, alchemist. Alchemist of the group. So yeah, she's kind of a witch hunter character. Then we have him who could at least get the edging on his base painted. But I could probably do some highlights and stuff on his fur, just kind of add a little bit. So all these are little bits. It's minor. This guy needs his sword back. Okay, so this is a skeleton in armor. He's actually a summoned skeleton who. Okay, so a party member in our group kind of got some magic armor that was possessed. It was possessed armor, and it's able to take. This armor works on any skeleton, animated skeleton. It can't be dead. But if it's already animated, this thing will take over that energy and take over, and actually allows it to live. It's got its own personality, and it doesn't talk, so to speak. At least not easily. He's learning to control the noises that a skeleton can make, which isn't much. It's like clicking and stuff, but that's kind of the storyline. He's kind of, I don't know if he's forming vocal cords, but ultimately he's coming up with ways to communicate. So him and the person who has control over him, which is this guy, Alvin. Now he could use a little bit of basing. He's not actually painted by me. He was a purchased figure, I believe. And as such, I touched him up one time because I looked at him under a magnifying glass and I saw that he wasn't very good. I mean, he had paint kind of on weird places. So I tried to match some of the paint, and just clean up the lines a little bit, make them a little less, I don't know, generic, a little less amateur, rush paint, whatever you call it, when whoever does these things in China or wherever, they're just slopping paint on guys, you can see the lines are kind of iffy. So I tweaked him. So he's pretty much done. This is Slobber Chops. He's a Tressum, homemade. So you're not going to find this character anyway because he's got wings. I took the wings off of another thing. So yeah, I got to put his sword back. He's got a sword, and I don't even know if I finished the sword, but either way, it's got to be put back. So there you go. There's the goal of this evening is to try to touch some of these guys up, get them ready. And this is my eagle. Okay, so I have another eagle, a golden eagle that needs to be finished. This guy is a secondary eagle because when you summon an eagle as a druid, they're usually a challenge rating. I want to say 4. No, challenge rating. No, it goes up to 2 for summons. And then I think their challenge rating, they must be a challenge rating 1 because you can summon 2 of them. So you can only summon 1, 2, 2 twos, 4. No, 1, 2, 2 ones, 4 halves, and 8 quarter. So yeah, it's weird. So if you use like some generic wolves, you can do 8 of them, but I don't like to do that. But so anyway, when I had a druid, I was building basically a menagerie of beasts that a druid could summon. And so I was putting them all together, and I was trying to get the full sets of several creatures. So I have 2 eagles. I've already painted one mostly as a golden eagle. I thought I'd paint this one as kind of more of a standard eagle, like your bald eagle, United States representative. But he's not done, obviously. He's new. I just got him in recent past. I also have 2 more bone skeletons. So I got to come up with a strategy for them. I have one that I've pretty much painted, and then I have these 2. My son got these for me for Father's Day, and I got to come up with a painting scheme for them. So they're not on the docket right now because I've got some other things to do. But I sometimes will take them out, get them on bases, so they can at least be used if necessary. So that'll be one of the things that I'm going to do. Get them on their bases, glue them so they can be stuck in a case. Because these are kind of fragile, and I don't like to store minis like this. I don't know. I don't like to, because then I won't use them. You know, they won't. If I need bone skeletons for whatever reason, or bone devils, I won't. Bone skeletons. What? Bone skeletons. That would be a terrible name for something because aren't all skeletons bone skeletons? It's a bone devil, which is basically a skeleton, skeleton devil. I don't know. So yeah, and he's got a clear base. That's cool. I don't think the one I have has a clear base. I don't know why. I don't think it does. Now there's a problem with clear bases for me. They look cool because you can see the map underneath them, but I put flex iron on the bottom. Flex iron is not clear. So yeah, you're gonna lose that feature if you do flex iron. That is the one drawback to flex iron. If you have clear bases and you like to see what's underneath the figure, underneath the model. Now, one thing I could do is glue these guys on and then put a strip of flex iron that just goes underneath him, so it still looks like a clear base and can still be magnetized to the thing is about flex iron is it's super thin, but he'll still be floating slightly when he's on there. But that actually might work. Interestingly enough, that might work. But if that was going to do that, why not just not use the base at all? Probably because he'd tip over. He's kind of top heavy, so yeah, I guess I could see why you'd put him on a base. But yeah, so I'm just going to glue them on their base for now. Makes them easier to paint when I put the flex iron underneath them, because the way I do it, there's a lot of different ways that different painters will do their thing. A lot of them buy, you know, they'll use these things. Now, I really only use this not to paint. I mean, I could pull these off and just hold it and paint. Um, the problem I have with this is I mean, it works. I mean, it's, I guess, ergonomical. But really what I use this most for is when I'm gluing pieces together and I don't want to hold them. I can just, you know, put them in place. The thing is, there is I now have this stuff. Accelerator. And with Accelerator, you almost don't have to hold paint very long. You put your super glue on one side and you put your Accelerator on the other. And then you touch them together and then, you know, 10, 15 seconds later it's glued. You don't have to hold it that long anymore. So this just makes super glue dry almost immediately. So that's pretty cool, and you don't really, there's no holding. But if I just wanted to be safe and hold them in place, I can do that with this character. But anyway, my way of doing models right now, until I decide something else, is since I put flex iron on the bottom of all these guys, they can fit inside the Mage cage in the X case. They have we put these magnetic inserts that you can put inside, and so you put the flex iron on the bottom of the figures, and then you can paint them like this, take them off, put them in their case, and they stay there. So yeah, that's how I prefer to paint. Now, this is makeshift. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is not, you know, maybe I could get me an ergonomic thing that puts the magnet on top, and then I could use it, because then I don't have to. What a lot of people will do is they put the gummy gunk on whatever, and then they stick the guy to the gummy gunk. It's like a putty or something that they stick on there, and they just stick to that. So it works too. I don't know if that's better. I mean, it's cheap, but this is pretty cheap too. Flex iron, you get like, I mean, for most of these kind of figures, you get, I think it's like 30 pieces of flex. And the thing is about flex iron is it can be its own base. You don't really even need to buy bases. If you want something that's flat and just goes up against the ground and you're willing to decorate the whole thing, if this thing sits right on the ground and you would never know that you're, you know, you could barely even see the base. The base is almost non-existent because it's so thin, but it'll stabilize your guy, it'll act as a base, you still get in the flex on the magnet, and he'll sit and stay magnetized to the ground. So there you go. So let's get a couple things done. That's my goal. The couple, I will do the paint touch-ups in a minute. I like to get the little constructive nonsense out of the way. Also, I was working on this chick. Don't ask me why she's a focus of mine, other than I just wanted to paint her. I thought she was very elegant, except that she is pretty minimally dressed, I guess. Better than some, which aren't dressed at all. But I got to paint like her jewelry. She's got like jewelry on her legs and her arm, and I want to do that. And then I think she's coming out pretty good. I got the flesh color tone the way I wanted it. I do need to put some more white on her outfit. It's still not as white as I wanted. I want it to be more bold. But I am also adding a little this Vallejo metal medium to the white. What this is doing is it adds some flex. So hopefully, like, her white dress has some shimmer to it. That's the goal. I guess I can't. I mean, it does show a little bit, but when I do it again, I'll make sure to add more of this. So it's kind of like basically makes a really light silver. It's almost like gold. So it's darkening my white slightly, so it's tricky. It's tricky to get the right white, but I think a couple of coats will still look all right. All right, that's it. Let's do some stuff. Let me see if I find my. So okay, so here's how this stuff works. Watch. So I'm going to take this accelerator, and the best way to do it is just let's see. Do I want to? Yeah, you put it on one side and not on the other. The thing is, I don't want to spray it on. The only problem with this applicator is it sprays. It's got a big spray to it. But so, and it almost always ends up on your fingers. There's nothing you can do about it. Phew! Stuff stinks too. Oops, don't do that. It doesn't really stick to anything until you get the super glue on it. But I don't need much. This guy's gonna stick pretty quick. And I don't. And this guy's. Um, that was a sloppy landing for this guy. That's for sure. Then we'll take this one. Go ahead and. If I press down on the base pretty hard, it'll spread the glue out and you'll be pretty well good. Nice thing with our clear base is you don't really have to decorate the base, right? Unless you're gonna cover it up. Like if I put flex iron, the thing is, a piece of flex iron this big, as big as these guys are, is way more than you need. Okay, so like this moose, all right? So he's got a piece of flex iron all the way on, but that is a lot of magnetic contact. This guy will sit in a base, and he's heavy though. This is a metal mini, so I'm actually, glad for it, because this guy won't move around very easily in a case. Even if I drop the case, there's a good chance he stays in place because of so much base area. Metal minis carry a lot more weight. If you've got a metal mini that's really solid, one of the minis that come to mind is is it Knights Miniatures or something like that? They came out with a lot of like Marvel characters that are made of metal, and in DC too. They have this Hulk one that's just like a little ball of steel. He's cool, but he's super heavy, and he's got a small base, probably at best 30 millimeters. So with a mini like that, I almost recommend putting like a washer on the bottom, something that is just pure metal, and it'll stick to the magnet fantastic. But another option is if you're using the flex iron that we sell, put 2 layers. It'll add extra depth. 3 won't do anything. Don't put a third one. I've tested it. 2 is noticeably stronger. A third one does very little, and that's because it's too. The magnets don't pull through 2 of them, so it won't be able to grab enough through the others because of the rubber parts. Ultimately, for best hold for steel minis or metal minis is either big base with the flex iron, big base with double flex iron probably be fantastic, and it'd be irritating because this guy as it is can be kind of hard to get off of the X case because you have to like slide it off or tip him, and he's only got 3 feet on the ground, so you want to be kind of careful how you handle guys like that. This guy could use some finish work, as you can see. I want this to be more like grass and bushes and stuff. Okay, so one thing I am going to be doing pretty soon is I'm going to start buying various basing materials and starting to do some videos using those. And that's because not very many people do it. There are some out there that'll kind of give you some examples. Some people will do this, that, or the other thing. But like I've seen some Green Stuff World, they have a lot of stuff. And I was looking at some of their tall shrubs, and I don't know how those look, so I'm going to try to get some, and then I'll do some videos to show, okay, this is what they look like. Tall shrubs are going to be a problem for small minis, right? So you put them, they're meant for like big minis that are looking like they're stomping through a big area, and you want to decorate their base so that it stands out, and you don't have these tiny little bushes that don't look like they do anything because the mini's so big. So yeah, so I got a lot of guys in progress. So these things are probably pretty glued now. Yeah, that's not going anywhere. These guys are solid. So what I'll probably do now is, like I said, put some flex that can't be seen. Not easily. I'll cut a long strip. We do sell flex iron that you can cut. That's not actually. So there's a couple options there. If I'd use, so these are some flex iron that. Okay, so these are the 3/4 inch minis that we sell. This doesn't come in. This isn't the bag it comes in, but. And all that's going to be up on our. We do have a store. You can check it out, Active Minds Games, but it's not a currently active store in that we shut down our credit card processor on there. We had issues with them, but also because we don't have any more X cases in stock, sales are coming down. So we're going to actually put up a store on Facebook /Shopify. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll even have maybe a deal or something or two on my Patreon. So if you want to come and back me up on my Patreon, notice If you back me up on the Patreon, and I'm going to be straightforward with you on this, it's going to cost a little more on Patreon than if you just go to my store and buy it. Okay. The reason for that is the Patreon is for people who want to help support my stream. And obviously, if you're paying for just the product on my Patreon, then you're not really helping the stream. You're helping the business, but the stream itself is not going to gain anything from it. So there is a markup, but I will try to call out as we start to sell those. Right now, one of the things that we're going to be selling pretty soon, in addition to the metal inserts, the magnetic inserts, we'll be selling the mage cages on there that we do still have in stock, and promoting that a little bit more. Hopefully to start pushing those a little bit so that we can use that money towards getting ready for our Kickstarter, which I'm hoping, and I'm striving, and I'm putting everything I can into it, or I'm going to try to get launched by next June. So, and I apologize, I'm talking that way, Mike is that way. So if you can't hear me, please say something. Say, hey man, I can barely hear you. Talk louder, or put the mic on that side. Would it reach? Did you hear that? I dropped the mic. I don't have one of those mic things that come up to your face. Just talks to you like that. Some people have those boom stands. Okay, so anyway, these are some options. These are kind of big. This one's going to be, as you can see, if I put that on, you'll be able to see it underneath. It'll work, but I kind of don't want to show it. I want to see if I can use this base in a way that you can't see the under thing. So what I'm thinking is the best plan might be just to use two of the 3/4 inch ones, or maybe just cut one of these in half, huh? These are the I think the 1.5 inch squares. Some figures have square bases. That's what these are for. We sell them in various sizes, and you'll be able to see those soon. Like I said, we're working on building that site right now. So we were going to do it straight in Facebook, but Facebook's kind of weird, and it lets you import from Shopify. So we'll probably do it in Shopify, and then I think they're either owned by or partnered with or whatever. So we will do that. My scissors are not in there. Where are my scissors? They were there a second ago. Here we go. Sadly, my compressor's been weirding out. It's not been working right. So it's kind of keeping me from doing some big models because I don't like to. They take too long to paint by hand, solely by hand. I don't mind doing some details and finishing work and highlights and that, so it takes long as it is. But just doing so I won't be able to clip this, so I got to make sure I kind of make it hide. So I want to cut the corners off. Just so it has a better chance of not being visible. Yeah, there we go. So that gives me a fair amount of flex iron for magnetization, so that it can be put on a base and not be visible, but yet also be able to do its thing. So yeah, just gotta make sure. Let's see, how's that look? I don't think anybody's gonna really notice that. I mean, they can kind of see it, but only on the right. I'm going to do a tiny little clip more, just a little bit more, right about there. Okay, that's enough. Let's get a little glue on there. the same thing with this guy. Just shredding off the corners, which were sticking out. And then we'll shrink this side a little bit more than the other side. These are pretty close to identical bases on these guys. I shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Ultimately, okay. Super glue is pretty good about how fast it dries on its own, so I don't want to take too long here. But it is not as quick as you might think. So there's that. So we will just plop him right there. Oops. There we go. That'll do. So he's pretty much based, or he's got at least a base on him. There's that. And that should be more than enough to make it stick to a magnetic flex iron base, or magnetic base. Whatever kind of magnetic base it is, but preferably it's mine. And for me, it'll be mine. I don't know what everybody else will use. I hope you will at least give the Mage Cage or our magnetic inserts. You know, we have actually sold quite a few of the magnetic inserts, surprisingly, recently, even though we don't have any more X cases, so people use them for other stuff, I suppose. You can buy them and just lay them out on your own cases, and it'll keep them in place. Keep them, what do you call it, earthquake proof? And yeah, earthquake proof is a thing. You never know where you live. You live in California, and you put up a nice display. Sometimes it's nice to have the security to know your guys are going to pretty much stay where they are, short of your entire display coming crashing down. If they can stay in their place and not get rattled and dropped and broke and whatever. Now, the Mage Cage will hang on a wall. So you just pop them up when you're ready to and when you're ready to game, you just snap them off, take them away with you. And so there you go. There's another guy ready to go. He's as ready as these guys are getting. They're not on my painting docket right now, so they gotta kind of wait. But at least they're usable. I can put them in their display cases. Other things. Now I'm just kind of working on. Do I have? So now this eagle, which oddly enough, he's an eagle, right? Why didn't he get a clear base? I mean, why don't they just do clear bases all the time? I mean, let you choose. I mean, you could paint one of these bases. There's no reason why you can't paint one of these bases. Could I do this like with clouds and junk? Am I creative enough for that? I think you gotta use cotton and other junk. Like you kind of paint it with maybe some light, paint the base like a light blue, and just take some cotton and just put it all on there and make it fluffy and make it look like like he's flying through the clouds. Maybe just have some patches of clouds through the blue so it looks like he's flying in the sky. That might be kind of cool. I'm just thinking, just brainstorming. I haven't come up with an actual solution yet, but that might be one. I'm going to do this, I'll spray myself. Mine, Garly, I pretty much did it. I mean, it really is difficult to not spray yourself with this thing, I'm telling you. So I'll show you my other eagle, who's only 90% done. He doesn't have his base painted either. He also doesn't have his tail painted. No painted tail. In fact, I don't even think he's attached. So, but say his feet and his tail need work. But yeah, he's in progress. Doesn't have his beak or his eyes. Actually, all I've done is paint his wings, and What I've done, 2 colors? Jeez, I haven't done nothing. This guy's barely even finished. It's like he's barely started. No highlights, no shading. I did a little transition work, it looks like, but not much. Not much at all. I did kind of go a little bit darker to kind of give him that multi-tone transition between his wings, but it's pretty small. So maybe I'll have a Eagles night out. So I didn't want to attach him yet because I was still painting, so it's easier to get to his feet and stuff. Um, so there's no reason why. But once I do that, I could probably get to that. But for now, anyway, that's the one that's in progress. So I'm gonna have 2 eagles, and one of them will be like a golden eagle, and one like a regular eagle, just because I want both. I say regular eagle, traditional U.S. of A eagle. Um, yeah. So is this guy painted? No, it's not. I thought I painted a bear. Painted an owlbear. Owlbears don't count as bears though, huh? So he's kind of cool, but he needs some work. Got a lot of guys that need work. A lot of guys. Um, it's like even these guys. I gotta figure out what I can do with them. I mean, he's painted. You can see his bone scallop, the bone top there, but he needs something. I was thinking maybe more gray wash with him, and then a brighter white on over the top. Or maybe just make this area a really dark gray, so it's like he's got a hunch of gray. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I got 2 of them, and I did paint one with a darker gray because I wanted them to be slightly different. You can see, but again, neither one of them has a ton of contrast. And neither one of them, have I painted either of their eyes? Oh, I guess I kind of did. They're small eyes. But their teeth aren't really painted, their mouths, man, these guys aren't finished either. I got a lot of unfinished minis. It's like like I said, I get so far, a certain distance, and then I stop. All right. Let's see if I can find Sir Julian's sword. I usually keep the bits and pieces in these cases. No, that's not Sir Julian's sword. 1, 2, 3. Where is the other case? All right. What do we want here? There's 2. 1, 2. Okay, so I'm missing it. I'm missing one of my. I have 6, and I'm looking at 5 of them. Oh no! Oh, here's 4 of them. What the heck? Oh, maybe it's this one. It's dirty. I thought maybe that was my. That had something in it, but. Uh-oh. I do not see Sir Julian's sword here. I gotta find Sir Julian's sword. What do I do with it? This is where it would be. Or should be. Dun dun dun. Usually when I have a piece that's loses something or it's separated, I put it in here. But as you can see, there is no sword in there. I mean, there is a sword, but it's not Sir Julian's sword. That is totally not his sword. I'm not even sure how that's connected to somebody, but whoever's missing a sword, that's one of them, but that's not his. These are also bits for a guy. And when I'm like going, what belongs there? I can go, oh, must be one of these pieces, but where's Sir Julian's sword? I know I kept it. And I wouldn't just leave it out because that would be bad. So it's got to be in something. I stored it somewhere. Well, you gotta watch me just kind of dig around a little bit. I may not be able to put Sir Julian's sword back on at the moment because apparently I was irresponsible or trying to be creative and putting it in the wrong spot. Okay, well, this is the part you cut out of videos. I'm looking for this many hours later. As he's blocking up the screen. This is another. This guy is not metal. He's a different. What do you call it? This one's got horns. I didn't even realize that. No, I wasn't thinking antlers. No, I guess it is his antlers. They just look like horns. But this guy's not metal. He's kind of almost looks better because he just got more detail, I think. Now this one is not in a case or a space, which it should be, but it's because then it won't fit. It won't fit in any of those in my normal spots because it's way too big. I don't think it's in here. Nope. This is my portable. These are my portable Mage Cage / X Case compatible wet pellets. So for travel, I can create a couple little wet pellets, and then I can, whenever I go places, I just throw them in the X Case, and off I go. Yeah, I know. It's one of those kind of things I could sell, just so people can buy them all in one place, one-stop shop. Kind of my goal is to keep, having all these different things, that pretty much everything you could possibly need that would help you do what you got to do with the X Case. Alright, well, I can't find Sir Julian's sword at the moment. I'm sad. So very sad. Where is Sir Julian's sword? He's going to be able to fight without a sword. I will find it. I will. I have to dig and dig until it appears. But I know it's somewhere. I refuse to believe it's not somewhere. Where is somewhere? Alright, well, I haven't painted anything yet, so. Blah, blah, blah. Alright. I have a lot of guys here that aren't done, or are in progress, and guys like this that shouldn't even be out here. It's not even my paint job. I didn't paint him. He's a what do you call it? A finished mini, pre-painted mini. Well, never is said a discouraging word. Never is heard a discouraging word. But you're about to hear one. Freaking A, man, where'd it go? That's stupid. You're all stupid. Everybody's stupid. I'm sorry, just being difficult. That's not attached very well, but so he's a guy who almost needs a big base simply because he's really back heavy. So he wants to fall back, but I put on some extra weight on his base so that he would, well, so he would be heavier. But and it does stay up better, but still got to be kind of careful. But he's actually one of the characters I need to paint. A lot of characters here that are in a state of flux. This guy could use some basing too to go with the bird. The bird, the bird, the bird is the word, the bird, the bird, bird, bird is the word. All right. Nope. Let's see here. Got more bases in the area, but I am not seeing Le Sword of Sir Julien. Why is this over here? See it? I think some of these guys I pulled over here because I simply wanted to touch them up. Oh, this guy needs flex iron. That's his problem. Yeah, some of these guys I just put flex iron on because I want to put them in a case, and I'm trying to get away from using just empty cases. See, this is, I don't know what this guy is supposed to be. He's like a Trent, and this, I mean, that's a large base, but obviously not large enough. And then that one is monstrous. It's like I need something slightly in the middle there. I don't have 2.5. I think this is a 2. Yeah, that's why we have a 2-inch base, and this is a 3-inch base. But I need like a 2.5-inch base, which isn't really a thing. So I guess I could just put him on there, and but he would take up a lot of space if I did that. I don't know. Maybe he's just meant to be on a small base. I think this guy's not meant to be a large figure or a huge figure. But that base is small. It's hard to find. I mean, I don't know. Here's another guy. I actually thought this guy would be a good candidate for like the tall grass, because I was thinking he could just kind of look like he's, you know, coiling up in tall grass. This guy needs a flex iron too, but see, he's my crab. I gave him some waterworks, but I was thinking about trying to do put some white water wave stuff on it, and touch up his. I mean, he's not going nowhere. He's pretty cool, but gotta do something with that. I got some, you know, the water effects. That's a basing thing that needs to be touched on. But nope, I pretty much have now pushed everything aside. And I have not found Sir Julien's sword. So as of the moment, my search has proven unrewarding. See, this is what you can do too. You could just, if you have a big black base, you can actually just put a thicker or a piece of flex iron in the middle. Don't need all that space. Once this guy touches a base, he's not going nowhere. He's going to stick. That's a big 32 millimeter base. This guy's not that heavy. He's going to stick. Trust me. Put him on one of our magnetic strips. He'll be good to go. Plus, you know, to be honest, if you're putting bigger figs inside of an X case or a mage cage, I suggest getting the 1-inch magnetic strips for the middle, because you only need that 1 inch of contact for those big minis. You don't need the 2 inches of contact. It'll work, but it's overkill, and it costs those magnets, or the 2-inch ones, are twice as much. The advantage to using the 2-inch ones is for, like, if you're using smaller minis, 32 millimeter and smaller, 35 millimeter smaller, because you can stagger them on a bigger magnet and get a lot more minis in there. In some cases, you could get, you know, 30 or more on one of the 2-inch magnets. So in that case, yeah, you want to, if you're trying to get max capacity, then a 2-inch base is great, but it's really not necessary for most big minis because there's just not enough room to stagger them inside of a case. I mean, they're not going to stagger much. They're going to move, that's it. So if you put full flex on there, use the 1-inch case. It doesn't matter how far you push them left, right. They're going to cover the full 1-inch magnetic strip, and therefore you're going to have more. You can save money on the 2-inch strips. So, okay, back to my search. All right, so the search is coming up fruitless. I'm going to have to get something done here. So let's pick on my guy. So this guy, he is actually a store-bought one, but I felt like he had no highlights, no black. He could use some more on his tail and stuff, but I just kind of airbrushed him from the front and gave him a little bit more contrast, which I think helps a lot. But it would probably look better if I got it on his backside too. Anyway, I got a bunch of dire wolves. You need a dire wolf when we're playing, and I got bunches of them. Got 3 big old honking dire wolves, and those guys can wreck you. Okay, so don't need more dire wolves, that's for sure. I don't know. I think the dire wolves might be a challenge rating half, where you get 4 of them. Or it might only be, they may be a challenge rating 1, which you get 2 of them. But I just happen to have that one store-bought one. And the other 2 they're all store-bought, but I mean pre-painted one. Thanks. Still doing a search here to see if Sir Julian's sword wants to make an appearance. So my son also got me the whole set of the League of the League of Maliciousness or something like that. And these guys are pre-painted. They're actually kind of cool, but they're from the what do you call it? Witchlight or something. That's one of the campaigns that we're running right now. Or I'm running. Well, Bargarn Darley. Don't know where it might be. So this is going to be a total. All right. What time is it? Ben, I haven't even got anything done. Only got like an hour left. So hour and 20 minutes. I mean, I could go a little longer, but I probably won't. See, here's my problem. I like to stay up late on Fridays, so I don't have to get up at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. But I also don't like to get up really late on Saturday, so it's like there's a window. I only sleep 8 hours, so it's about shifting my 8 hours. So that I get most of the day, but not, I don't have to worry about, it's like I just don't want to be up in the early AM. All right, well, I guess I'll dig for Sir Julian's sword somewhere else at another time. Oh, what am I doing? I found a loose piece of paper It's not a loose piece of paper, it's my glue dots. And I just unraveled them. Oops. So, glue dots. You're saying, what the heck do you use glue dots for? I'll tell you. I use glue dots for non-permanent attachment to bases. If I don't, these are the kind of thing you could use if you just want to do like people do, where they attach a guy to like a cork. You can use glue dots. Just peel one off, put it on whatever surface. That's as if you're not using a magnet or Flexon like I do. But if you are using those things, you don't need it. But if you're using something else, then I so this is supposed to act like a tape dispenser of sorts. It's kind of wonky. So you pull it out, and then this guy pokes up, and then you just peel it off. And you just keep pulling the paper through. That's kind of how that's supposed to work. But you can see I kind of broke it off. All right. Well, yes, we will officially call that failure and move on to getting something painted. Let's get some guys out of the way. We will just see who's number one. Oh, I was going to put some basing on. Let's put some basing on the birds. Simple stuff. I usually like to go with brown earth for most natural painting. It's not because I like the brown. It's just, it's... Okay, so Vallejo's got a number of these colors, okay? There's brown earth and asphalt and different things, but they have there's a few of them that have almost the same texture. And to me, it's like, what do you need that for? Just paint it. So the brown actually lets you get most kind of ground type colors. You just paint over it with whatever you want. It's a pretty rough texture. It's like mud and dirt and that kind of thing. They have mud, and they have dirt, and they have others. Some of them look the same. Some of them are finer. I did pick up some ground texture. This is ground texture acrylic. It's smooth. This one doesn't have any. It's ground like concrete. Really smooth mud. Maybe just like something like paste. It's almost like what you would use for like. I mean, you can make it smooth by scraping it smooth. It's very there's no grit in it. And then there's others. I have the Martian Earth or something, which is a Citadel one from Games Workshop, and its thing is it crackles, the crackle one. And I have a couple others, but I haven't used all the other ones. I don't even remember what some of them are. I have one that's kind of a gray, and it's just a texture like this. But I like the brown earth because it's a big bottle. Although I am kind of pushing down through it. I've used it on a couple of big minis, which starts to use it up. All right, so let's put away a couple guys that aren't going to get any work. So we'll take her out. Thought about putting, like I said, putting a little weed or bush on her thing. He doesn't really need anything. I thought about touching up his fire because it's just one color, just orange. I don't even know if I put any highlights. I forgot, does the yellow on fire, is the yellow the more intense color and then it turns orange, whatever, on the way up, so it's more yellow on the bottom? Is that the goal? I forgot how fire works. I really need to work on my fire skills. He could probably even use some varnish just to, keep him from fading. She's done. Doesn't need anything right now. He needs a sword. I don't know where it is. He don't need anything. We'll trust him. All right. So I guess we're just gonna go with the brown earth. The thing is about brown earth, I'll tell you this right now too, is it's very what do you call it? It's like say, the grittiness of it is kind of intense. Is that the, is that what I'm looking for? Intense? It can be a little difficult with small areas. I have some stuff here, if I can find it. That is a little weed-like. Yeah, like that. See, this is going to look good. This will look kind of like sticks and twigs that can be sitting around him. So yeah. Because it kind of looks like a bird's nest, right? Kind of like a mess of whatever. Let's get my brown earth. I usually just put this stuff on with like one of these little, this little tool here, Citadel texture tool. And like I said, these guys don't have a ton. So, and I just like to have it on there so that I can do the whole base so it looks kind of the same. I don't like the flex iron sticking out any more than I would like it if it was, you know, full base. But these little, the little base on these guys is so small that these guys are, they're even they, this is a metal mini, so it doesn't, for that super small amount of attachment to the magnet, yeah, they'll stay, but they will tip over because it's very top heavy. And this flex iron makes it so that it's a bigger piece of flex iron, so it will actually better adhere to the magnet, and the guy doesn't go anywhere once he's in there. It just makes him safer than just being attached to only one little piece of magnet. And gives you a little more to hold on to if you don't want to mess with your base, your mini. I'll probably be online most of the day tomorrow, or at least up until, I don't know, 3 o'clock or so. Because my wife works tomorrow, so I won't have any reason not to be. But afterwards, we're going to go eat. We're going to go up to go see some family. Visit, you know. See what's going on with them. Now, I probably won't put any of that sticks and twigs on right now. I'm going to let this dry. And then I will probably paint it a little brown. Or maybe I'll just could put a bunch of that sticks and twigs on right now. But I kind of don't want this brown color. It's too muddy. I don't want it to be muddy. I'm not going for the muddy look. So I'll probably paint it like a brown color. But I'm going to do something similar with this guy. And you can paint them different color, you know, just get different shades of whatever. So like if he's got this light color down there, maybe I'll paint this light colored. I do like to kind of overlap whatever base I'm putting it on, just so that there's not like a, I don't know, I don't want a line. I don't want to bump it right up to it and then you see the line between the base that was there and the homemade base that I'm attaching it to. It's my own personal little, I don't know, I mean, it's like some people, oh, you can still see the transition. Because it's not, you don't see it that much really though. If you paint the whole thing, then it shouldn't have too much transition. Paint all the same color all the way through. This is Ruby. So you can see he's kind of got a red look, and I painted him up for a character for actually Dacis. She don't even cast him anymore. She has the thing, but she hasn't used him in a long time. He's just like a pet, like a familiar. She summons a familiar, and it's this guy. So yeah, there you go. There's his muddy looking floor, but like I said, I'm gonna smooth that out and try. As I said, I'm gonna paint it mud, and I'm gonna probably just put some sticks and twigs around it. One of these guys at least will get sticks and twigs. Could actually just make it into a nest. Just cover it up, have him totally engulfed by sticks and twigs. We'll try a couple things with those guys, but for now they have bases, which is all I wanted on him. Same with him. His, I think I'm not going to use this. I'm going to go ahead and him I will. Let's see. Let's put a little bit on his. It's just simple. He doesn't have that much base remaining, showing he's actually got hit. He takes up the base pretty thoroughly. But I'm not even using my magnet, so this guy doesn't have very much base. It's one of those thin bases. It's one of those thin bases that doesn't show. Or, you know, it doesn't have much surface, not much area to grab onto. Alright, his base is kind of done too. Or at least got the basic stuff on. Like I said, it's all about just trying to give them something more, a little less plain. Now he's going to be tough because he's glued to the base. I have no idea how to get a base around his feet, so I would either have to put a really thin coat of something and then somehow texture it. I don't know, short of cutting him off the base and trying to figure out how to do that. Yeah, that guy's going to be tricky to get any kind of basing on him. It'd be cool if I can get like a sidewalk underneath him or something, so he didn't just look, paint it gray even with that texture. But so they have roller textures, which fine, and you can even have these press-on textures. But ultimately with this guy, it's going to have to be something really thin to get that kind of texture. So no mud for him. It's going to have to be smooth. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to put a really thin layer of this ground texture, and then I'm going to try to carve bricks into it once it's say you can. Now this says you can mold it. This is ground texture. You know, mold it, shape it, carve it, whatever you're going to do. After it's dried, don't know. Guess we're going to find out. I'm going to put this stuff on, let it dry, and then I will try that later. So I'm not going to, I just want to get it on. It's got kind of a dusty floor here, so I'm gonna clean that off. Getting the stuff between his legs here, so I can cut the. Let's get that dust out. That'll work. You know, it just gives it a clean surface to adhere to, right? It's less likely to chip off or whatever. Again, this guy is a pre-painted mini that I touched up. All I did was match the colors best I could and kind of clean up the lines. And but now I want to give him a base. I'm thinking something like this, something kind of bricky. So I'll do something similar. It'll probably just be more like scattered bricks, carved after I've put the stuff on. I've got to put a really uber thin layer because he's a really uber tiny figure. And his feet are uber tiny, and I gotta try to make it look like this is going to be little more than a super thin ground surface. So I'm just covering it up enough that I can maybe create the appearance of brick by carving it. And you can't do that with the plastic, so I got to give it a surface, any kind of surface. And that's what I'm going for here. Whole thing smooth as possible, get at least an ultra thin coat, and then we'll see what happens. Enough that it's got to be thin enough that he doesn't really look like he's in the sidewalk. I don't want it to look like he's sinking into the sidewalk. I want the sidewalk to be level with his boots. Alright, it's pretty tiny. I need to put on my magnifying glass. Just because I got to see what I'm doing, and he's black. Black on black is very difficult to see. So I'll get lots of light in here. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, it's better. Be kind of careful. Like I said, I'm going for as smooth as is reasonably possible and as low as possible while still getting enough coverage that I can carve or scratch. It's not even carving so much as scratching in what I think will look like a sidewalk or brick layout. I think it's working. Oh, it's going to be really hard to get that perfect thin, because like if it was thick enough, I could scrape across and just be good. But I really can't do that here because if I scrape too much, I end up um, going all the way up to the feet. Now, all right, so that's kind of what I was going for. Smooth. We'll see. I'm going to try to carve bricks into it later. We'll see if I've got it at a good pace. If carving into it's realistic. See if I can get some bricks on there. Now, Agden, he's actually got a more significant base, and all I'm doing with his is kind of continuing what's already there. I'm just going to raise it up so that putting more of this stuff on to cover up his base completely. So he doesn't have the flex. I know, flex iron's round. I could technically have just cut the flex. But, you know what? I'm not. I just want to completely cover it up. Just because I kind of want to play with it. I want to see what I can do here. And I probably carve it. Kind of like the rocks that are already there. I'll just kind of carve off the extra. Have it maybe overhang a little. Just give myself a different more rounded base, one that doesn't show the flex. Gonna get that flex iron to be completely invisible. All to the point that all you see is the edge. That's the goal. Alright. So another base bites the dust, and then we're done. See, it's not that hard to put on some basic basing. This is basic basing, as in I haven't decorated it or painted it or anything like that, but at least gets things set up for a little bit more work later. I actually chipped hers. I don't know what I did. I bounced it off of something. Stuff does dry hard and it's pretty durable, but obviously not so durable it can't be chipped. Especially since it is supposed to be carvable, right? If it can be carved, then it can be chipped. Right. Alright, so there we go. There's basic basing prep basing. Who else do I got here that needs something? Anybody? Bueller going once, going twice? He could probably use some, huh? He's definitely gonna need some base chunk. What is he walking on? Is that rocks? Just lava ground? Oh, that's interesting. I could call it. It's like they're almost like the flat shale rocks. Um, Interesting. I'm gonna try something. I feel like trying something else. Do I have? Alright, so these thingies here. Now, this is something we also sell. No, most people don't know we sell these. We sell these. They come. You can buy them. I think they're $1 a piece, $1.75 a piece. But we also sell an 8-pack, where you can just get a variety of basing materials in these small little containers, which is nice because if you want to cover an entire base. You just put your glue or whatever on the base and you tuck it in there and mix it up and pull it out. Knock all the stuff off. But these are not all of the options because the one I want is not over here. We've got those, and we've got like this sand. But we've also got, hold on a second, I'll be right back. I gotta go get my other options because the things I'm looking for are not here. Just a minute. What are you doing down here? Go back upstairs. Okay. So I was thinking this glass, but this glass is too thick. It's not going to work for my purposes, I don't think. This is basically like a they're like flat. You gotta be careful. It is glass. It's basically busted up glass. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how they the source I got these from. But yeah, see, it's like mirror reflective surface. It's interesting, to say the least. But yeah, it's basically busted glass. Now you would paint it. You don't necessarily have to have it look like that, but it is a flat surface, kind of thick, and you can mess with it. This is kind of what I was looking for.
Have a nice lemonade.
Yeah. Be careful about letting Reba down here, don't? Because she.
Almost made it down here.
So this is like flat rocks. So you can put them on there. So I was thinking just put some glue on and put a bunch of flat rocks on there. And then I can paint them or do whatever I need to and kind of get that kind of rocky, flat rocky surface. I probably will paint them because like they are, it's probably not going to serve my purpose. But so let's get some glue down. And this is one of the options on the kind of rocks that we sell, basing material. Now these ones, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do. Short of spraying all of these things, it's going to be a pain. So I'm probably just going to put them on there and just have to play them by ear, you know? Now I'm going for the flatter ones. Most of these are pretty flat, but there are some thicker, less flat options. Tricky is they could probably be broken to fit more of your purpose, but I'm trying to see if I can do it without breaking them. And then what I'll do when I paint him is I'll paint the surface that he's standing on already similarly, you know, so that it looks like it's all kind of the same same stuff. Now, what do I have that's, do any of these guys fit around the corner though? This is the kind of thing where you kind of have to play with it, you know, see if there's a good option. Because some of these, you could probably break them up if you had to, you know. Some of them are, I'm sure some of these are pretty small. Sure wouldn't take much to break a couple of these little rocks. Thing is, for what they are, there's not very many thin ones. That's what I'm looking for, something a little thinner. Yeah, huh. I kind of want one. Look right there. I think that spot's gonna need a little more glue. A little more glue right there. I'm not sure how I would trim that. This is not going to be a trimmable. You can't really trim rock. It's not like I can go, oh, let's just chisel that off. So there is that, but I think it'll be fine. If I could come up with ways to get that other spot, but short of like going to get another one of these containers and trying to play with it to find the right piece, I don't necessarily see that the right piece is naturally going to be here. There's definitely some interesting shapes here though that do kind of help. If I had smaller pieces like crumbs, these just aren't crummy enough, man. You need to be more crummy. If I had a tiny piece, but I do not. So I can stick one right there. But I think that's good. Let's let that guy sit. He's going to be a little heavier. That's going to keep him on his base. So that's my basing effort for that guy, other than painting it. We'll see how that goes. A lot of trickery. Trickery, I say. There you go. Base time is over, at least for the painting or prepping of it. Then what we need to do is start painting some guys. What I was going to do with her? I was just going to add her a couple of bushes. Let's give her a couple of weeds. How about some light colored weeds, shall we? these medium ones. Just for consistency, let's take another one of these tiny ones. We'll stick it. Oops, got two of them. All right, guess I'm putting two of them back here. There we go. See, that's her base. I just add a little bit of bushes to give her a little, give the ground a little bit more flavor. Hopefully that glue that's on it'll hold. Because I don't know how good the glue or the little stickiness on the back of these really is. Okay, so the only other thing I'd like to do is probably paint her base. This is Lulu. This here is Lulu the Hollyphant. Now she's not completely painted yet. She's getting there. With her, I'm actually going to trim her base. See, she's got some of the flex iron on her too, but it sticks out. It's just easier with that. I'm just going to trim it off. It's one of the nice things about flex iron is it is trimmable. See how thin that is? You can barely see it's there, but once you cut off the extra flex, it's just, now she can stick to a magnet, which is what we got going, so there. Alrighty, that's that. Let's go ahead and clear my space of these guys. Now, and then let's get some really gotta find Sir Julian's. I know it's around here somewhere. I guess it could be in the case that he was in. I'll have to look. Alright. This one's going to be pretty minor. Again, with her, I'm just painting her base. Gonna go with classic black. That's kind of my base trim for most of my D&D minis. Now, I will use a different side trim for minis that are, yeah, I'm trying to go with a theme. Like him, I actually got the beach theme, so I painted the base kind of the same colors as beach sand. But in general, I go with a basic black. Now, if I'm pulling minis out of a board game, all the minis in the board game get the same color base, and it's usually not black. It's usually like some random color, red, yellow, blue, some weird thing I pick. That allows me to know that those minis all go together, and they belong in, and therefore they will be inside of a base. You know what? I'm gonna do something cool. I'm gonna add silver flex to this. She's kind of a magical, mystical. Might turn my black silver though. We'll see what that does. Well, if I don't like it, I will be sure to not use it in the future. Actually, you know what? Maybe what I should do is just use like a color shifter. Now these color shifters, here I'm saying I go with black and then I'm digging out dark colored ones. It's turquoise violet. We'll mix this with black. Mix this with the black, which is already dark, so it shouldn't do too much, but it'll add a speckle to the black. Now I do have adamantium black, which is basically a shiny black, but it's kind of bluish. So I'm going to see if I can do this without being bluish. This is so weird. Look at what that color is, and that's like that color is like this color. How does it turn? I don't think it does. That's why I'm mixing it. Oops, where's he at? There's nothing on there. Okay, that's what I should do. What I'd like to kind of do is maybe I should just carry his base over. I like thin. I don't like the base to be so big that it only goes up to the thing. So maybe I will put a little something on the base, have it go all the way to the edge. I don't know why this is like. Why it does that to begin with. Now keep in mind this mini, this base, I don't think was meant for this mini. I think it belongs to like my Arena Rex minis. I only have a few of them. I haven't painted them all. I got them in a trade convention. I traded mage cages / X cases. I have a lot of retailers who like to use them, even just use them as displays, because they're portable displays. It's weird how this stuff really is kind of turns blue when you start painting with it. But you're almost better off just coating it on top of whatever you're painting, trying to let it shine through, because this is not very, it's not very, it's very thin. You almost need a base coat underneath it, and then you add that to get the speckliness on top. Right. Yeah, trying to decide if I want to bring whatever that is all the way to the edge, or just bring the base all the way up. I guess it doesn't matter, right? I could just put this, paint it, see what it looks like. Don't like it, then I can bring the base out. But see, it just makes him have so much base. It's like his base is huge. Now Lulu has lost her memory. She's lost her memory of a lot of spells that she can do, and I'm thinking I got to figure out a way to get her some memory back. Now it's in the campaign she's from, but since they're doing kind of a hybrid campaign, there's certain parts of this that don't have anything to do with her. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can cross over her memory parts in this other area they're in. I mean, ultimately, it probably doesn't matter. They've kind of benched her, told her to stand aside. They did bring her with them, but she's not really taking part in some of their stuff. That's because I guess they decided she's not helpful. So they took her out of the lineup for now. There's actually a couple of characters they have with them that they just told them to wait. Because they didn't want to go traveling around with them. So there you go. Her base is kind of painted for the moment, till further notice. So at least looks kind of interesting, right? Actually, you could use some highlights and stuff, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Just trying to get these characters to look a little less unfinished, you know? Alright, so he's kind of high on the requirements list because I do need to get his, I need to get him finished, get his colors on him a little bit more, call out some details on him, and see if I can I don't know, make him look cooler, finished. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I need to do with him. What time is it? 11:30. You know, one of the things you never want to talk about is time and dates on streams. You don't want to date it. Like, you can say something like, "I went and saw a movie," or even maybe say the movie. People might go, "Oh, well, that came out in the night." Nobody's gonna see this that far in the past. By then, my streams will be long gone. But typically, if you're gonna do like a video that teaches or shows somebody how to do something, and you're going to try to make it a fixture video, that could last a long time. So you don't want to date it. You don't want to say, "Hey, welcome to 1980, February 1980," and then people are like, "This is really old." But you could do it in 2023. Say, "February 1980, welcome to it." Wait a minute, that's something's not right here. Where did you get a cell phone like that in 1980? It's like if you're looking at it. All right, well, I did some basing. I got a little bit of color on stuff, and I think my getting up this morning early is catching up to me. So I'm gonna have to paint some more tomorrow. Until then, take it easy.